Welcome back to part 2 of my La Gomera Canary Islands Spain travel guide. Today we have woken up and begun a new day in Valle Grande in La Gomera. This is a beautiful village that I stayed in, and I would definitely recommend it if you want to stay somewhere more quiet. This is the view from my Airbnb kitchen window, and as you can see, Valle Grande has a lot of terraced hillsides, which make it for a very stunning sunset. As I mentioned in my previous video, we are going to be hiking Garahonai National Park, and we are going to be going from the Airbnb. The drive from Valle Grande to Garahonai National Park is about 30 minutes. If you visit La Gomera and you mainly want to do hiking, I would definitely recommend Valle Grande as a place to stay because it's nice proximity to Garahonai National Park. If you are driving to Garahonai National Park, or even if you're taking public transportation, you can definitely put your starting point as Aparcamiento de Cruce de Pajarito. This is a parking lot, and there's also a bus stop right next to it. So if you take the bus or any public transportation, you can just get dropped off right there and start the hike. And if you have a car, you can just leave your car there. There's also street parking available in case the parking lot gets full. We are now in the park of Garahonai National Park, and we are looking at Tenerife. So what's really special about this park is that you have great scenic views, especially on a clear day. So from Garahonai National Park, you can see Tenerife, El Hierro, La Palma, and even Gran Canaria. So those are the other Spanish Canary Islands that are nearby. So for today's hike, we are hiking specifically to Alto de Garahonai. That's the highest peak in La Gomera. The highest peak is 1,487 meters or 4,879 feet above sea level. The hike is relatively moderate with some up and down hills, and it can be accessed from different starting points, but the most common route begins near the parking lot that I mentioned before. The hike is accessible and it's well marked. It's about 5 kilometers or 3 miles round trip. Some things you can expect on the hike to Alto de Garahonai is you can definitely expect lots of dense laurel forests. It's very, very green in La Gomera. As you can see, it's so beautiful. You can also expect some historical significance with this hike because the peak was considered a sacred place by the indigenous Wanches. The Wanches used it for spiritual ceremonies. If you are a hiker, some other reasons why you would want to visit this incredibly stunning national park is because the park spans about 40 square kilometers or 15 square miles, and it features deep ravines, misty forests, and seriously breathtaking viewpoints. Lastly, Garahonai National Park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We made it. We're at the Alto de Garahonai. Woo! Flip this over so you guys can see this spectacular view. It's the same, but a little different, a little bit clearer. So you don't have trees and all the green. So beautiful. This place is definitely one of the prettiest hikes I've ever been on. And what's quite nice is it's not that complex. If you want to just go to the Alto de Garahonai, it's about an hour and a half. Look at the snowed on. Look at how freaking beautiful. That's Tenerife. And I have a video on Teide, so make sure you check that out if you want to go to Teide in Tenerife. That video has everything you need to know about visiting and doing that experience in Tenerife. If you're planning to also hike the Alto de Garajonay, I have some travel tips that you should definitely know before you go. The weather can change quickly in this part of La Gomera as the trail passes through humid laurel forest before it reaches an exposed summit. So you definitely want to think about bringing some light layered clothing. The park's high elevation also means temperatures can be cooler and windier, so I would recommend bringing moisture-wicking base layers, a light fleece or sweater for warmth, and possibly a windproof, rainproof jacket. I would also recommend SPF, comfortable shoes, and comfortable pants. All right, we are back at the starting point. Ruta Circular. This is where we just came from. And the car is right over there. We were so glad that we brought our rain jackets on this hike because it got so foggy and it got so cold at the end. It was a significant drop from when we started the hike for sure. I would recommend not just only hiking, but your whole trip of La Gomera to have a light jacket or light sweater handy because it might get colder depending on where you are due to elevation. So definitely keep that in mind when visiting. And after we finished this hike, we went back to the pueblo where we were staying at, which is Valley Grande. This is a different view from a place that we had a random coffee in. As you can see, the pueblo is very green, but all of La Gomera is very, very, very green. What I've noticed about all of the Canary Islands is each of them have their own flair, for sure. So basically, you visit different islands for different reasons. I personally think La Gomera is the best island to go to for hiking because it's so green. And it's also a little bit underrated because it's not as well known as the other Canarian Islands. Then we went back to our Airbnb and we had a dinner that was definitely well deserved. So as I mentioned in my previous video, in La Gomera, there's not many businesses in certain villages. So what we did in the start of this trip is we bought groceries to cook in our Airbnb. We are now officially saying goodbye to Valley Grande in La Gomera, and we are making our way to one of the coolest and most stunning viewpoints and miradores in La Gomera. And the name of this is Mirador de Abrante. While we make our way over to the best viewpoint of La Gomera, I want to emphasize that if you want to do some great hiking in Spain, you definitely need to have La Gomera at the top of your Spain list. As you can see, La Gomera is an incredibly underrated and hidden gem, unlike its bigger neighbors like Tenerife and Gran Canaria. This island remains beautifully untouched by mass tourism, which offers a tranquil escape with breathtaking landscapes, charming villages, unique culture, and so much more to offer. We have now made it to Mirador de Abrante, which is literally the most breathtaking viewpoint in La Gomera, and this one is super special because it's famous for its glass skywalk. The glass skywalk extends out over the cliffs, offering stunning panoramic views. So you're probably wondering why you should even visit Mirador de Abrante, and the reason is there's spectacular views. It overlooks the charming village of Agulo, which you can see, it's super beautiful, the Atlantic Ocean, and on clear sunny days, Tenerife and Mount Teide. The Mirador de Abrante viewpoint also sits 620 meters above sea level with sheer cliffs dropping below. You also have the glass skywalk, which is a thrilling experience where you can actually walk on the glass floor above the valley. It's super cool, and maybe if you're afraid of the heights, this might even scare you a little bit. To get to Mirador de Abrante, you can hike up from the Agulo village, which is the village that you see from the viewpoint, but it is a steep ascent. I will let you know that it's around 1.5 to 2 hours. You can also get to this Mirador by car. From Valley Grande, it's 56 minutes, and from San Sebastián de La Gomera, which is the capital and the busiest section of La Gomera, it's 51 minutes to this Mirador. And the last travel tips that I would recommend about this mirador is to definitely visit either the morning or the late afternoon to avoid the crowds because it definitely gets super hectic in this mirador. And the last travel tip about this mirador is to definitely try to visit it. It's free and it's super stunning. It's super cool to be walking on the glass and to get all these cool viewpoints of the island. You also see Tenerife and Mount Teide, which is another unforgettable view of that on the island. So yeah, definitely recommend this. Alternatively, if you want to do some light hiking and you don't want to go all the way to Agulo, there are little hiking trails around this mirador, so definitely check that out. I'm not sure the distances, but there's definitely some hiking there to do if you're interested. Inside the mirador, there's also a very small exhibition, but it's interesting to learn about the local culture. The history and culture of La Gomera is very rich. They even have a whistling language that's supposed to be the only whistling language in the world that's still actively used, and this language is recognized by UNESCO. We are now going to be enjoying our last few minutes of Mirador Abrante before we make our way to our final stop. We have now made our way to our last stop, which is San Sebastián del Lago Bera. We have officially gone 360 in this video because we started in San Sebastián del Lago Mera and we are also ending in San Sebastián del Lago Mera. We're taking the ferry back from La Gomera to Tenerife South. And before we got on the boat, we wanted to have some lunch. So that's exactly what we did. This is the beach closest to the port and the marina in San Sebastián del Lago Mera. I think if you're looking for things to do, definitely walk by the marina and the port in San Sebastián de La Gomera. It's super pretty and definitely worth a stroll. Additionally, if you're interested in water activities such as sailing and boating, you should know that the clear waters around La Gomera make it a great place for sailing, yachting, and boat tours. There are plenty of opportunities for renting a boat or joining a guided tour to see the island from a different perspective. You also have whale and dolphin watching. The waters between La Gomera and neighboring Tenerife are known for being rich in marine life. You can book these boat trips from the marina for whale and dolphin watching. La Gomera is one of the best places in the world to go dolphin and whale watching. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check that out. We are now in the city center. This is the Ayuntamiento building, which is the city hall. It's very pretty. I feel like the architecture in La Gomera is very colonial and it's very, very beautiful in my opinion. So now for lunch, we ate in Restaurante Ambigu. To be honest, I thought it was a tourist trap because the prices and the quality of food were not lining up. It seemed to be a popular place, but we thought that the food was very bland and I didn't like my rice. What we ordered at Restaurante Ambigu was almagrote with crackers. Almagrote is a Canarian cheese spread. I've talked about it before. And I got a seafood soupy rice. To give the meal a rating, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. And after lunch, we went to the port to take the ferry back to Tenerife. I hope after watching this video, you consider La Gomera and Canary Islands your next Spain travel destination. It's beautiful, it's affordable, and has so much to offer.